Hello, everyone, and welcome to Get More Clients. I'm your host, Lynn Whitbeck. Business owners and entrepreneurs hire me to ignite winning sales because most are chasing down leads, lack client retention, conversion, and profit. The mission of this show is to educate, inspire, and motivate women around the world to build a robust sales strategy to get more clients, because most can't get more clients and haven't a clue why. You will learn to transform thinking to the client's perspective, eliminate the lengthy, chaotic sales cycle to ignite your sales and unleash lasting profits. You will also have the opportunity to connect with me further to see how I can support you beyond today. And surprise, surprise, today I am joined by Amanda and Rachel of the Petite to Queen team, and they are going to help us demonstrate shortcuts and secret tips to apply all you have learned on Get More Clients. It's my pleasure to introduce both of these lovely, lovely women. First up, Amanda Whitbeck, VP of Operations, website wizard, extraordinary writer, grammar queen, and master organizer. Give a wave, Amanda. And now Rachel, give a wave. Rachel Whitbeck, Director of Content, Social Sorceress, Regal Researcher, Content Princess, and Luscious Writer. Amanda and Rachel are my talented, brilliant nieces, and I am truly blessed to have them as core team members of Petite to Queen. They've been with me since we began the company 6 years and going strong. We have some additional team members who couldn't be with us today, but welcome Amanda and Rachel to the show.
Hi. Hey, I'm glad to be here in a more active sense this time.
Absolutely. Rachel often is here in the background. You just don't see her. And she did pitch hit for me that time I had the technical difficulties. So let's go over last week. We learned how to use stages to generate new leads, opportunities, and sales. Today, the three of us are going to reveal successful concentration of your sales strategy for Mammoth rewards. There are 4 core foundational pillars for your sales strategy: client thinking, ideal client avatar, client journey, and worthy intent. The key for rapid and easy implementation is to apply these pillars in a practical, process-driven approach. By the end of today's show, you will know how to apply the 4 foundational pillars in your business, why your focus must always encompass these 4 pillars, where to begin quickly implementing your sales strategy on the fly. We will be providing examples of practical applications of the 4 foundational sales pillars to inspire your creative juices. You can quickly and easily implement your sales strategy on the fly, and we're going to show you how. So Amanda, let's start with you. Specifically, will you share how you utilize the 4 pillars: client thinking, ideal client avatar, client journey, and worthy intent when refreshing a website?
Of course. So when we're thinking about a business's website, it's really imperative that you understand your ideal client, because that will allow you to speak to their needs. And if it hasn't done already, we start with doing the client research to make sure we understand who they are, and from there develop that ideal client avatar. That will allow us to understand the client's thinking, and that includes what they want, need or lack. And from there, we design the website that speaks to them, where they are now, and what kind of benefits it is that they're seeking. So with our own Petite to Queen website, for example, we fine-tuned our ideal client over the years, and I've updated our website accordingly. On our homepage, it needs to be immediately clear who we're speaking to, what we offer, and why we're a good fit for whoever it is that's viewing our website. The homepage must be clear and concise and speak to directly to those wants, needs, and lacks. And from there, we follow the client journey with the additional pages on our website. So, for example, on our website, we've recently been making some changes with the testimonials that we show. Historically, we've been aiming for women in particular, and so we've kind of rearranged the different testimonials that we have on our website, so we show women first as an example of making sure that we're really speaking to the people that we're trying to reach. And from there, we have different pages. We have our Work With Us page and our membership programs page, and so on. And not all websites will have the same page or flow, but they must follow the client journey for who you're trying to speak to. We also populate our website with new content, whether that's weekly or daily. That can include blogs and podcasts and so on, but they need to all speak to who your client is and what you're trying to give to them. So for example, this Get More Clients show that we're on right now, that itself does follow a client journey in the kinds of content that Lynn shares each week. From week to week, you're following that journey. So not all businesses will have the same kind of content or the same kind of needs, but if you do have that extra content, it's important to have the kinds of resources that will bring genuine value to your clients, because that really demonstrates worthy intent and making sure you're speaking to who they are and what they genuinely do need. So website refreshes, they can include copy, they include images and graphics, what kinds of things are on each page and what the flow of that page is and what the different pages on your website are. There's a lot that goes into it, but it all comes together in an organized package.
Okay, well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Amanda. And I know that you also manage the master schedule and implementation plan for our clients. And this includes working with all the Petite to Queen team, such as our VP of Marketing, Allison, for branding, and our graphic production artist, Christina, for design. How do you communicate the 4 pillars: client thinking, ideal client avatar, client journey, and worthy intent when working with Allison and Christina, and even Rachel?
Yeah, well, branding and all things visual are so important for communicating with and appealing to your ideal client. So I usually start with our overall brand message and working with Allison, who's our VP of Marketing, and we work together to develop that. Using the ideal client avatar, we determine what kinds of colors and fonts and styles would make the most sense for the people that we're trying to reach. So, for example, do you need a design that appeals to young people, or maybe someone who's middle-aged? Do you need to appeal to women specifically, or do you want to appeal to men, or do you want to appeal to a little bit more general smattering of people? The more specific you are, the easier it is to develop a really clear brand message, and that branding will capture the essence of your business and that of your ideal client. It also needs to be consistent across the board, from your website to your social channels, your email marketing, that includes your graphics and your video content and so on. Once Allison and I have established that brand, then I work with Christina, who is our graphic production artist at Petite to Queen, in creating the visual content that communicates the brand. So of course, the colors and fonts are fundamental, but Christina also really captures the kinds of images and designs that will be consistent with the brand. She does an incredible job of finding the right images and creating the right designs for each brand that we develop. She's really amazing at that. So the branding, the graphics, they appear on the website, social media, pretty much all the content that we create. They are invaluable in keeping the message consistent across all the platforms, and they really speak to our clients' thinking.
All right. Well, Amanda, you definitely are the master of keeping all the balls moving in the air. And what about the extraordinary writing that you provide for our clients? How do you incorporate the 4 pillars: client thinking, ideal client avatar, client journey, and worthy intent in your writing?
Yeah, this starts with going back to the beginning, really understanding that client through the research and developing the client avatar. As you already said, Lynn, Rachel is our regal researcher. And so once Rachel has established the client avatar, that really helps me in understanding how the client thinks and what they need in a product or service, and what the business we're working with needs to communicate to them. I help our clients with a website refresh, the content plan, the marketing plan, and everything that will really establish and strengthen that connection with their clients. So we work with clients in a range of industries, and because of that, getting that foundation right with the client thinking, the ideal client avatar, the client journey, and the worthy intent is paramount to helping the organizations that we work with in making an impact.
All right. That sounds fantastic. And of course, you do it all so well. That's why you're the amazing Amanda. And as you can see, we can constantly connect everything we do back to those four pillars: client thinking, ideal client avatar, client journey, and worthy intent on whatever project and wherever you're at with your sales strategy. Now, let's hear from Rachel and some additional practical examples that you can follow. Now, Rachel, you perform a great deal of deep dive research for our clients. Can you give us an example of how this ties into the four pillars and share some of your resources?
Sure. Yeah. So research is a huge part of what I do, and worthy intent kind of frames everything we do at Petite to Queen. I'm sorry if you can hear my radiator, but it decided it wanted to speak as well. Um, so anyway, yeah, worthy intent frames everything that we do, and that's really important. But we can only deliver on that good intention if we do our research, which is where I come in. I spent a lot of time sifting through reports, articles, statistics, tables, whatever I can find, um, to make sure that we get it right. Because we have to know who the ideal client avatar is if we're going to help our clients provide their best possible service, which means we need to be looking into who experiences particular struggles or challenges, who wants certain things, and who can most benefit from the product or service that our clients provide. So researching the client excuse me, inevitably means researching their thinking. So as you get to know who could use these resources, you come to understand more and more about them. I learn about common wants among these ideal clients, their common wants, their and fears, forces of frustration and joy, what kinds of processes would make sense to them, in terms of reaching out to them and guiding them through successful sales, and then continuing on through their use of the service or product. Um, and always maintain good support. So it means that I'm looking into what their likely objections are going to be and what might be just the little thing that will take our client service from good to great for their ideal clients. And obviously, this is all going to be feeding into the client journey. So my research allows our clients to foresee what their clients will want and need throughout their journey and how they can best provide those things. So it's really the research that backs up our worthy intent and allows our clients to deliver on those other three pillars. And it's also a really iterative process. Ideally, we'd have a good amount of time to find who needs this product or service, and then allow the product or service to be slightly tweaked to best fit the people that they're trying to serve, et cetera, et cetera. And it's a fun iterative process. Now, in terms of providing or suggesting the best resources, it really depends on what you're specifically trying to do. But I can say that Zippia.com is a great resource for finding statistics about specific job titles in the United States. Also, Harvard Business Review is a fantastic source. Tends to have good articles and research on a variety of topics across many different industries. Now, my secret weapon is that I have access through my university to look at research that might be otherwise behind paywalls. So if you can find a way to have access through a college or university, that's going to be what gets you in greater depth of information. And that information will be a lot more reliable than what you might find through like the game of telephone that makes it to the more public articles about the research. Um, and also, if you're able to provide the more detailed information, not only does it create our better client avatars uh, and solutions for those potential clients, um, when you're presenting this information, you tend to look more knowledgeable, and um, you looks like you really know what you're talking about, because you do, because you have access through the university. So if you can do that. And speaking of playing telephone, whenever you do find a blog or news article about a particular study or report, click through the links to see if you can find the original report that they're talking about and read that, because that's going to give you more details and will help you discern what sort of misunderstandings might have happened through that game of telephone that we talked about. And then my final tip, I guess, would be to look at industry magazines. So if you're looking at a particular industry, check out what publications exist. and then peruse those, see what the headlines are, see what they have to say. If you're looking for an answer to a particular topic, then they're more likely to have the information that's most helpful to you. So those would be my tips for getting off the ground when doing your research to best serve your ideal client avatar and their journey and all that.
All right, that's fantastic. I think that if you're, have that alumni access to university, the other idea would be to your local library. Many local libraries, as a member of your local library with an online account, you can access some of these deeper dive research areas as well. And this is such important work. And thank you, Rachel, for all the great advice. I also really appreciate your pointing out to go to that original resource, go click through those links to get to the original article. And it's really a good idea to see if everything keeps pointing back to one article, or if there's multiple articles that are providing this same general information. Because if it's only a single resource, that's just one perspective. So it's great if you can validate that in other ways. Now, I have some more questions for you, Rachel. And this new one is, how do you use the 4 pillars: client thinking, ideal client avatar, client journey, and worthy intent when creating a social media plan?
Right. So, and Amanda kept bringing this back, and she's right. So it's the research that frames absolutely everything. So knowing who my ideal client avatar is and how they think and what they want from their journey is going to frame the whole social media plan that I will present to our clients. So I would choose which social media platforms to focus on depending on where those ideal client avatars would tend to spend their time. I find out what time of day is the best time to post to make sure that they see it, especially if they're in a particular location, country at least, if not one time zone. But otherwise, how we can best make our impact there. And I think even more importantly, I try to tailor the language and writing style to fit the ideal client avatar. And Amanda touched on this with her own writing, and I'll talk more about it in a little bit. But with social media especially, you have to get into questions of how many emojis should you use and which ones are going to translate and be understood well. But also, how formal or informal should your writing be? Do they appreciate abbreviations, or do they not? Do they like acronyms, or do they not? How long should these posts be? Now, in the case of Twitter, you have a very limited number of characters that you can use, but in other platforms, you have a much wider range. So do they prefer to read longer posts, or do they want something short and pithy? It depends on who your ideal client avatar is, and what we know about their thinking and everything like that. But even more importantly, what is posted depends on who the ideal client avatar is and what they think and what they want. So are they a group of people who want really informative articles for us to be posting and promoting? Do they want some advice? Do they want to see a lot of deals and discounts for your products or services? Do they want conversation starters, either for among their own group of people or for engagement online? Do they want you to be asking a question for them to be answering in your comments? That really depends on who your ideal client avatar is and how you can best meet them where they're at. So yeah, that's really what I have to say, is that I make sure that social media plan meets the ideal clients where they are and speaks to them in the way that they want to be spoken to.
All right. Well, that's fantastic. I really appreciate all this and the tips that you've provided. All of these are wonderful. So I have one last question for you, Rachel, because we did, as you alluded, heard Amanda on leveraging the 4 foundational pillars in her writing. How do you utilize the pillars in your client writing?
Yeah, so I mean, I would say it's quite similar to what Amanda said, and even similar to what I just said with the social media. The ideal client avatar and the client thinking rules all, of course. So again, we would need to provide the ideal client avatar, what they want, and how they want it. And this again returns to the tone. Do they want you to be bubbly, straightforward, funny, or serious in the way that you write? a mix of several different styles tends to go over well, but you need to know what those ratios would be. And it also means using the right kind of jargon and how much of it. So if you're talking to professionals, you need to be able to show that you're in on the language, but you also don't want to, one, sound like a tryhard, or two, start speaking at a level that's above what your ideal client would be able to understand based on their expertise. And some audiences really want to be able to relate to the article or post or whatever it is that we're talking about when we're talking about writing, and they would want to be able to hear the writer's voice, even if you're ghostwriting. So if they might want the writer, whether it's me or Petite to Queen or one of our client companies or one of the individuals within that client company, they might want that writer to feel real and sympathetic, while other audiences would want things to be more serious and fact-based and unemotional without the obvious opinions or feelings of the person writing. And also, this one's really important, is that different types of people have different amounts of time and focus to spend on reading what you're writing. So I tend to adjust the length of the articles that I'm writing to accommodate those needs. If you're very busy, you might not have time to spend reading a full-length article or a long-form article is what I meant to say. Meanwhile, other people would like to really sink their teeth into certain things like that. So it's really important to always adjust and, again, make sure that you're reaching the ideal client where they are and speaking to them in the language that they best understand. So really, my research about the ideal client avatar, client thinking, and client journey frame everything that I do for our client companies.
All right, that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Rachel and Amanda. I think this helps everyone envision how they can apply the 4 pillars: client thinking, ideal client avatar, client journey, and worthy intent in their content creation. And I also want to share a little bit about Christina and Allison, who couldn't be here with us this morning. Both of them were mentioned, but this all goes into the work that we do when we do private client work. And it also goes into what we provide in our other programs. So one of the things that's so critical is why we start with client thinking first, is that you have to get into the head of your client. If you don't understand what your client wants, needs, or lacks, why it matters to them, so they can do what, you will never make the connection in your sales strategy and in your marketing. You're always going to be one step behind, and you're going to be missing that boat. So that is the most critical place that you have to start. And then once you start that and you go down and do the work on that, that starts to reveal that ideal client avatar. And sometimes you discover that you've actually been targeting an audience that you thought was your ideal client, but they're actually not the best fit. And so then as you develop that ideal client avatar, we go back again and revisit the client thinking, because then we can apply everything that we've done, especially with that deep research that Rachel has done on the client avatar and the client thinking, to reformulate that and then to set the stage for that client journey. Some people may call a client journey like the sales funnel, but that's just the very beginning. That's this spark, the attraction, connection, and then guiding a client through the relationship to close. But that's the beginning of the relationship. Then you are executing on the product or service that you're delivering, building that relationship, developing more business with that existing client, and of course, those wonderful warm referrals and introductions for more business. So that client journey is that entire breadth of time. It's not a funnel, that's part of the journey, but it's just a small part of the journey. It's the entire experience your client has with working with you. And of course, basing everything on your worthy intent is what sets you apart. And that's what we bring to the table, that we truly desire to help and serve our clients, which is why we're very careful about the private clients that we choose to move forward with. We have to passionately believe in who they are and the business that they have, the product or service that they provide, and the impact that they're creating, not only for their clients, but for their team and their community. And this is so important. And Allison, of course, as I'd mentioned, as our VP of marketing, what she brings is, as we're doing this work and creating that client thinking and the ideal client avatar, is starting to look at what the overall brand is and what that look and feel should be, how it's going to connect and attract and create that spark for the ideal client avatar. And we're often working with something that the client already has. They've already established their logo or some their brand colors, a certain style. And then how do we take what they have and either massage it slightly, refine it, or how do we build upon it to really make that connection stronger? And then Christina, as the graphic production artist, not only creates the designs, but also incredible videos, really capturing the essence. She is like a chameleon in the sense that she can adapt her style for different clients. And that's the key thing, is that style then becomes a theme that continues on. And both Amanda and Rachel talked about this from that very first attraction. What's on that web page? How do you speak to the client so you can make that connection with your ideal client? How do you take them along the client journey with your outreach, with your social media posts, with the content that you're creating? And how do you take a piece of content, one really great solid piece of content that addresses a client pain point or a problem that they're trying to solve, an area of concern, something that matters to them, and then showing them how they can, taking that piece of content and starting with that one piece. And then how do you leverage that and repurpose it to really enhance the client journey? And we've talked about that quite extensively. So that is today's show. And I want to thank everyone who tuned in. I really appreciate your being here. And Amanda and Rachel, thank you so much for sharing how to quickly and easily implement sales strategy on the fly. You know, my purpose, our purpose, is for you to get more clients. Bottom line, don't make this harder than it has to be. Sales should be a win-win. And on behalf of the WinWin Women Network, I've carved out a limited number of time slots to invite you to hop on and ignite your sales call with me to see what's working, not working, and what you would love to have working. And I'm going to see how I might further support you in generating more leads, converting more sales, and fulfilling on your promise as a brand and organization. The fastest way to success is to assure people know that they matter. And the best way to make this happen is to build a consistent sales strategy to acquire, convert, and capitalize on every lead. You will find growing your business is easy, lucrative, and successful. Today, we revealed successful concentration of your sales strategy for Mammoth Rewards. The key is for you to implement these steps to stop wasting time, energy, and resources. You have the opportunity to jump in and get the support you need for true success. Say yes to you and get on a call with me. We are all truly gifted at this, and you deserve a shortcut to your success with the right support. You can go to pdq.link/win-win. You can also connect with me on our website, Petite to Queen, and to stay current on all of our insightful advice, breakthrough advantages, the incredible resources that we provide, and never miss an episode. You can sign up for our weekly wisdoms at petitetoqueen.com, and you can check out all of the programs that we offer so that we can help you move forward in your sales. Next week on Get More Clients, I am going to reveal my story from Girl Scout to Queen of $1 Million Sales Strategy. So I will see you all next week on Get More Clients.